Hi Virgo, welcome to your reading. If you're new to the channel, I do timeless readings, which means that whenever you guys find this reading is when you're meant to hear the messages within it. And in case you subscribe to my channel, I upload my new videos for Virgo and Pisces on Saturdays. Also, for those of you who are interested, the deck that I'm using today is called the Wisdom Seekers Tarot. And as always, if you guys are interested in a personal reading, the link is in the description. And just as a final heads up, sometimes the cards like to flip over in the deck. I usually don't take them unless they jump out like these ones have. And just so you guys know, the goal here is to get you guys roughly 8 or 9 cards, and then we can get started on your overall energy and reading. Let me just grab that card that fell. All right, so I do just want to take this moment to remind you guys that if you enjoy the reading or if it resonates for you, the best way to let me know is by leaving a like or a comment. But your overall energy here is the Five of Cups. Now, the Five of Cups is usually a bit of a negative card because in other depictions of the tarot, it'll have 3 cups that have been spilled over and then there's 2 remaining cups. Now, the whole sort of message behind the Five of Cups is that sometimes things are lost and, you know, there isn't a whole lot that you can do by crying over spilled milk. And I feel like that's kind of the attitude that you're taking right now. I don't feel like you're in a woe is me, I'm a victim kind of mentality. I feel like you acknowledge and you recognize that certain things have happened and you don't want to cry over spilled milk. I feel like you just really want to get past it in the most effective way possible, and I feel like that's really admirable. However, I do want to point out here that in this particular rendition, the Five of Cups, or rather the 5 cups, are intact, right? So I feel like even if there's a situation that feels like all of your cups, or at least some of your cups, are spilled over, it doesn't feel like it's that big of a deal for you, right? Especially since we have an adjacent card here, the Ace of Cups. So it almost feels like even if you have these cards, or rather these cups, like even if they spill over, you have some reserve cups. And I feel like, you know, you can attribute that to the fact that you were probably very well prepared ahead of time for anything that would happen. I feel like you're really in a mental space where you were kind of hoping that everything would... I'm getting the expression, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. And I feel like that's... You're very wise in your energy right now, and you're very much in your head thinking about things. And that's another thing I wanted to bring up, is that you have the Justice, the Star, and the Lovers, which all happen to be cards that represent air signs. You have Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini here, so you have the trio of air signs. So you might be dealing with someone who has very heavy air in their chart. And I feel like there's some kind of blockage here with the Star in reverse, but I do want to touch on that a little bit later, just because we have sort of this energy going. I want to read the cards going from left to right here, even though I already started on this sort of column. But the Justice card here, I feel like you are finally getting some kind of reparation for something that has happened in the past. I feel like you've been wronged in some way in the past, and now it's finally time that that situation work itself out. And with the 7 of Pentacles here, I feel like you've really been working towards this. I'm getting it for some of you, you may have been in some kind of illegal trouble, maybe wrongfully accused of something, or maybe even like somebody tried to sue you and it was like a total BS lawsuit or something of the lines. I'm certainly getting that that's a very specific case for a very small group of you, but I'm certainly getting that there's something in regards to justice, and if it doesn't have to be the legal system, it can be just like, I'm getting debts for some of you. I feel like you may have lent out some money to someone and somebody may owe you money, and there's sort of like being very hard to return. But certainly here with the Seven of Pentacles, you've planted your seed, you've watered it, and you've measured out how long it's grown and everything that you have to do on your part. So I'm certainly getting that you're very much like prepared. Like I said earlier, like you've done your due diligence. And I feel like in the past, it's certainly not been fair for you, because also I looked at the timer on the video just now, and that was 555. 555 has to do with a lot of powerful transformation. So it might be relevant to some of you guys. But here with the Star card, like I feel like you guys have had a goal or some kind of a desire or wish that hasn't really come through. And in the past in particular, I think that has felt very unfair to you. Also, I'm getting a lot of difficulty sort of putting my thoughts into words, and my throat is a little bit dry, and that combined with all this like airy energy, especially since the star is in reverse, it almost feels like there's been some issues with communication for a lot of you guys. And in particular with some kind of a water sign, because those are definitely the two strongest energies that I'm getting here. Is very strong water and very strong air, followed by the Pentacles and followed by the Swords. But basically there's a water sign here who I feel like isn't communicating with you quite the way that you would like them to. And then here with the Lovers, there's some very interesting symbolism going here in the Lovers, right? Because there's sort of this like duality. There's this duality of sort of the expectations that have been put on women versus like the sensuality of a woman here. And it's very interesting that there is sort of this man deciding that, even though they both seem to be interested in him. But I'm almost looking at this and interpreting it as if the man is almost an outsider in this situation. Sort of like an outsider looking in, and it almost looks like these women have eyes for each other. So I feel like there might be some issues with you guys explaining things and they don't quite come out the way that you want them to. Like I'm getting a really difficult time in communication in here in particular for you guys. So certainly if there's a lot of talking that you have to do, I would recommend, bring in some note cards or really write out what you want to say. Spend some extra time proofreading, dotting your I's, crossing your T's, because it looks like the communication is very flimsy right now. And even just when I was flipping the cards, sometimes they'll flip over and other times they'll just like, I'll be facing in the same direction. So it feels like the energy is very confused, very muddled, a lot of that energy of not being able to communicate smoothly. And be careful that you don't accidentally like burn a bridge or something, because I'm seeing the Ace of Pentacles, and the Ace of Pentacles talks about a new beginning and stability, right? And the fact that it's in reverse almost leads me to believe that there's some kind of blockage. And I don't think it's any coincidence that it happens to be right under the card of Lovers, which is sort of the card of Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, such as yourselves, right? Mercury rules both Gemini and Virgo. And this whole reading has been sort of centered around communication. So I'm certainly getting that these communication issues are causing you to feel sort of like this King of Pentacles in reverse, right? Because the King of Pentacles in reverse is very decisive, very smart, very business savvy, very, intelligent when it comes to the things of the material realm, very sensual as well. Sort of going back to the Lovers. But like I was saying, because it's in reverse, I feel like part of the big issue here, the underlining issue, is that there's this trouble in communication. So if you can get sort of that communication issue squared away, I feel like a lot of these things are going to start to line up, right? And it's very interesting because I see this Seven of Swords and it almost feels completely disconnected to the reading, because like there's this issue of communication, and then there's just over here. Also, I looked at the timer again and it was 10:10. But like I was saying, there over here, there's like this person who is dishonest and maybe not even trying to communicate in an effective way, purposefully causing conflict and confusion. But I feel like at the end of the day, like you're worried more about the emotional aspect of this, with the Ace of Cups and the Five of Cups. And like I was saying, on this side and this side, you have that sense of preparedness. I feel like nothing is going to catch you off guard. But the only like rocky bits are here in the middle where you have these communication issues, right? So, and I don't even know if it's so much you being misunderstood or you communicating badly, so much as like the other person not being able to understand you. So like, don't think that it's all your fault, but certainly try to make sure that the other person understands where you're coming from, because even though they don't understand you, that doesn't mean it's necessarily your fault or their fault. I feel like at the end of the day, you just need to work towards whatever it is that gets the point across the most clear. But that was your reading first time around, Virgo. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like or a comment, because it really helps out the channel. And I personally really love to know if these readings resonate with you guys. But like I said before, I upload my new Virgo videos on Saturdays. But in the meantime, you guys are more than welcome to watch any of my other timeless readings that I have up on the channel. And with that being said, I hope to see you guys next time for your next reading.